Hi, session number 2. Hopefully yesterday, or whenever you saw session number 1, I'm hoping you were inspired enough to rush straight out and find yourself a sketchbook and found yourself a 2B, a 4B or a 6B pencil, and I really hope that you had a go at our first activity. So I finished this off this morning where I drew a few more things, simple objects from my kitchen, and just with pencil, and just basically with pencil and a little bit of shading to create some form. So from the elements of art, we're using some line, we're using shapes, we're using form. Speaking of the elements of art, I had decided that I would make a little guide, and during the making of this, down here with colour, you can see I went absolutely wild with the colours, and what it did was accidentally bleed through. So I could have put a paper in there, but I didn't because I was using textures first, and textures do seem to go through the page a bit more than other things do. Anyway, it ended up staining this part of my page. Now I could have left that there, but what I tend to do is when I have stained a page from whatever I did the page before, I like to paint in a background to cover whatever mistake was made and then paint over the top. A good example of that is this page. So this page, it wasn't a mistake, but it's the same idea. I had been drawing, just doodling. I don't know if you can see it. It's just a pattern that I didn't like. So I just got some acrylic paint, painted the background, left it open to dry, and then I worked into it. So don't worry about making mistakes. These are things that we can work with. You can either just learn from it and move on, or you can push an idea or change things or paint over things or just keep working things. It's in a sketchbook. No one's going to worry about it. You can go for your life. So we were up to this. We did this yesterday. Here's what we're going to do today. Yesterday we did the objects. Once you've done that and you've found simple objects from around the place, things like cups and bowls, anything that is a geometrical sort of shape, and really simple forms. Then we're going to move on to some natural shapes. Now, of course, that means more organic shapes, but it also means a bit more freedom because no one, if you're drawing a leaf, no one is going to say, that's not what that leaf looked like, are they? So there is some freedom in drawing from nature. So I did show you this one yesterday. This is literally a pencil drawing, and then I had done a wash on the page first, drew into my squares with pencil, and then used a light colour as my background. The other one, which I really enjoyed doing, where I put a wash on the page, I divided up my page into different areas. I found things from nature and I drew them in. I used the background light colour here to make my form stand out. And then just for fun, I had this beautiful gum branch and drew that across. So you can start exploring a little bit with those things too. We're here. Done our first page, we're on to our second page. Drawing from nature. So I've collected a few little things from my backyard. Now obviously I won't sit here and draw everything. Same deal as yesterday. I'm going to break up my page into some smaller shape. So I've broken up my page just like I did yesterday. So let's say we drew something with the pencil, and obviously I find things that have more detail are a little bit easier with a pencil. I'll pop that there. I'm just going to do a really quick observing the shapes. I'm kind of going around the outside, just starting at one point and working from there, and then whatever ends up on my page, that's fine. On the second one, I might decide to use a pen. So I've got a fine liner here, an art line pen. It's a bit thicker than normal. I can just carry on looking at my object, just looking at the shapes, again, like yesterday, looking at shapes. But this time, instead of these sort of geometrical shapes that we were looking at with the cups and bowls, these are organic, which means you can't get it wrong, in my opinion. So just enjoy following the line around with your eyes. Your pen can go where your eye is showing you that this line goes. Add in whatever you can see. You can add in as little or as much detail as you feel comfortable with, okay? So you can bring it all in. I can see, and the beauty of, I think, using this pen means I can really create a strong shadow, which I think might be what this needs. Let's do that. Now, obviously, everything I'm doing in this series, I'm doing it really fast so as not to waste time. Time is precious, and I want you to just get stuck in. So we have a pencil drawing, we have a pen drawing. You can explore all sorts of mark making. Maybe you've got some pencils from your kids' pencil case, and you can try that out. Find a bunch of things that you would like to explore drawing with, and just have a go. When it comes to drawing something from life, a really important aspect of the drawing is the shadows. It's what creates the 3D effect. So, I mean, you can just do contour lines and not worry about shadows in some drawings. You can, maybe some drawings are just the shadows and you're not drawing lines at all and you're just using some tones to create your drawing. I really would love it if you explore using lots of different types of drawing techniques. If you want me to delve into a whole bunch of different drawing techniques, I will. The Graphite Aquarelle it's a lead pencil that doubles as a watercolor pencil. So you can use it to draw with, but if you add water, it just, you know, bleeds out beautifully and nicely and creates some beautiful tones. I've just drawn, and I'm doing this as simply as possible, drawn a little flower here. Get some water. Got some water here. And with my Graphite Aquarelle, I can just go over my lines and it will create a very painterly effect. This is why I really encourage you to find different types of art materials that you can play with. And that is really the word I want to get across at the moment. It's playing with materials. As you play with the materials and explore them and like see what different things can do, you will find that there are things you enjoy way more than other things. And when you find those things, you can really run with it. Push them as far as they can go. See what you can do with it. All right, so I'm going to finish this off with a stem so it doesn't look like it's floating in the middle of nowhere. Okay. I messed it up, and that's okay because I'm going too fast, but you get the idea. So I pushed it with the aquarelle. You can also just see what of your pens, pencils, textures, if you add water, just see what it does. Sometimes they run, sometimes they don't. Like maybe this texture will run, and it does. So that's kind of nice. It gives it a little bit of blending. So that texture can turn into a bit of paint. This pen here, I don't know. Yep, it also, let's go like this. We can paint it in with a little bit of water, add to it. It's really just playing and seeing what things do, okay? Just see what things do. It's going to dribble, and that's okay. So we're still at our dividing our page into bits, drawing one thing that's in front of us and exploring with materials. You can go outside and find, you know, maybe the object is a tree, but then you draw what's around it. You can use the same technique of dividing up your page and you can draw little landscapes. Once you've done something that you think, well, I've done a really amazing job with this, I'm now going to take that little picture and draw onto a whole page. So you might take this tree, decide that you're going to make a whole picture with it. One last thing I want to say. If you had done a drawing and it was for, let's say you were going to paint over the drawing, you've done it in your book, okay, and the whole idea is you wanted to explore with some paint or some watercolor or whatever, but you did a drawing and you love it and you're really scared that you're going to mess it up. And if you love it, just let it be. It's done. If you love it, that's my philosophy. If you love it, it is done. Okay. So go to the next page, redraw it, and that way, and then you can paint in or do whatever you want to do to it. That's a hot tip from me. That's what I would do, because there's nothing worse than doing something you love and then going to push it to the next level and losing that thing. Don't do that. Just in my opinion. Someone else might say, no, be brave. Who cares? Just, you know, do what you want to do. I say, if you love it, keep it. Okay. That was session 2. Stay tuned for session 3.